Buenos días a los que se siguen uniendo. Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Estamos dando unos minutos más para que sigan entrando estudiantes a la presentación del día de hoy. Muy buenos días a todos nuevamente. Ya en un par de minutos comenzamos con la presentación de hoy. Gracias por estar aquí.
One, two, three, four.
A nombre de la Cámara de Comercio Italiana en México, les doy la bienvenida a esta presentación que forma parte de la tercera edición de Encuentro Creativo, que es un proyecto de la Cámara Italiana apoyado por la Embajada de Italia en México. El objetivo de Encuentro Creativo es promover la oferta académica italiana en México. Les doy una calurosa bienvenida a todos ustedes a esta sesión titulada Digital Transformation, Revolutionizing Fashion Channels and Communication. Tenemos el honor de tener hoy con nosotros a Gianfranco Liboto por parte de la Universidad Domus Academy. Domus Academy es una incubadora de talentos y un trampolín hacia aventuras interdisciplinarias. Ofrece cursos de posgrado en una amplia variedad de especializaciones en diseño. Cuenta con un enfoque meticuloso, riguroso y sólido que combina con su visión creativa. Los estudiantes son libres de expresar sus personalidades en un contexto que promueve tanto la diligencia como los errores, como primeros pasos hacia la creación de un proyecto exitoso. La escuela se ha mantenido fiel a uno de sus principios fundacionales. Más que ofrecer nuevas soluciones, el diseño también debe revelar nuevos problemas. Ahora daré la bienvenida a nuestro orador, Gianfranco Olivoto. Él es responsable del programa del Máster en Diseño de Moda y del Máster en Fashion Styling and Visual Merchandising en Domus Academy. Tras licenciarse en Lenguas y Literaturas Modernas en la Universidad de Catania, Gianfranco Olivotto se trasladó a Londres, donde trabajó como visual merchandiser para el grupo Benetton. De vuelta a Italia, trabajó en proyectos con Dolce & Gabbana, Mantero, Zeta y Juicy Couture. En 2000, Olivotto trabajó en el lanzamiento de la primera colección de Neil Barret y después fue jefe del Departamento de Relaciones Públicas y Prensa de la empresa hasta 2004. En 2005, Olivotto cofundó una agencia de visual merchandising y branding que trabajó con marcas de moda como La Perla, Ralph Lauren, Borsalino, John Barbatos, desarrollando los proyectos relacionados con el retail y la comunicación visual. En 2012, Olivotto se incorporó a Domus Academy como responsable del programa del Máster en Diseño de Moda y del Máster en Fashion Styling and Visual Merchandising. Y sin más, pues cedo la palabra a nuestro ponente del día de hoy.
Hola, buenos días to todos. Hi to everyone. Thanks for your presentation, Monica, and I really appreciate this meeting for Encuentro Creativo. When I was asked to participate to this meeting, I thought that it was really interesting to have a panorama vision of what is happening in the digital fashion communication. So this is why I will share the screen. We thought about creating this presentation that is about how the fashion channels and the communication in the fashion industry has changed in the last 20 years. So probably we will have a very young audience, and so they will be very familiar with these new techniques of fashion communication, but I think that it will be completely important and strategic to understand also what happened in the past, so that this can be a better understanding of the evolution of fashion communication. So we are going to...
Sorry to interrupt you. Do you think you could project full screen?
I see full screen, but it's not, you're not viewing full screen.
No.
Okay, let's see if I can do something. Vedi se riesce? Non so perché non lo vede full screen. What about now? Is it? No.
No, I see the slides very small.
Ok, faccio da questo screen 2 forse.
No, yeah, I mean, if you, okay, now it's much better now.
It's much better now. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, sorry, but I had too many
No worries. Thank you.
panels. So I was sorry for this interruption. Anyway, I was talking about how the digital communication changed in the last period. So what we are going to do today is just an understanding of what was happening in traditional fashion communication, the advent of the web and the Web 3. So new tools of communication channels, the transmedia concept against multimedia, and then some case studies of one of the best practices that we have in this kind of communication that can be considered Gucci and Balenciaga. I will conclude with just a short video about artificial intelligence, and we will also have some conclusion and consideration, reflection on what has been presented. So, I mean that in the past, probably the only way to communicate fashion was the physical magazine. The physical magazine where we had the glossy advertising campaign And it was considered the Bible. There was no target audience because this was an exclusive communication, not just for a niche market. That was the only market that fashion had. Much has changed since the launch of Instagram in 2010. So what we strongly believe is that physical magazine will have a future, but it will be completely different from the past where there was only one target. Now, and this is a quote from Alexandra Schulman, former Vogue editor-in-chief, the future of print magazine could lie in switching to less frequent and special editions. This is why we assisted in the last in the last 20 years to the death of a large number of magazines. But we have more specialization, a niche target that is going to buy magazine and will always have this contact with fashion magazines. Of course, monthlies are still the most common frequency, and since the price of the physical magazine has jumped, magazines are becoming more a book, like a coffee table book, something that you will keep. And so that's the big change that we assisted in the print magazines. But at the same time, magazines are broadening their the way they work. They are working as consulting media agencies, and we will see in details what is going to happen with this kind of magazine. Of course, the main important things of a fashion magazine was to achieve and to get advertising campaign, print advertising for the mass majority of the revenues. We have some example of advertising campaign that we are still working on advertising campaign for fashion communication, but this is going to be just a niche market and one of the different tools that we are going to use in order to communicate and to cover the a more inclusive panorama. Another advertising campaign of Balenciaga for the fashion magazine. So if these magazine have just a niche market, what we can do in order to promote and communicate fashion for a larger audience? Usually the traditional publisher has the skills and the know-how in order to adapt their competence to the digital age and embrace a future way of publishing. So since the internet generation that we have to target, there is taking a dramatically different approach to content, and a new model is emerging. This model, of course, is emerging thanks to the birth of the web that has given brands and retailers a cost-effective way to circumvent traditional publishers and engage consumers directly. This contact that the fashion brand has a direct contact with the consumers without any middlemen, middle companies, it's completely strategic because, of course, the company can show their brand identity. They can understand the consumers of their the needs of their consumers, and according to this they can create a customized communication. So what is really important is that nowadays we have a customer-centric approach. The customer is at the center of this sort of communication. We do not have only the physical magazine with the advertising campaign and potentially the fashion editorials inside the magazine. We have different touch points. Of course, these touch points, the most important are the digital ones. We still have the physical store, the brick and mortar store. That, of course, is going to change, and we will see in the last part of this presentation a short suggestion about what's happening to the physical store as well. But anyway, we have website, social media, and of course, all the other digital tools that are transforming this communication. Everything's moved in the direction of the digital part during COVID, of course. Here you can see one of the first cover that was produced by Vogue Taiwan. It is completely done with avatars. Everything it's not real, the models, the props inside the shootings, and even the clothes were just reproduced with digital softwares. So we can understand that nowadays digital can be considered the new black. As you can see, the title of these issues of Vogue Taiwan is Future in Transit, and they were really great also in developing a fashion editorial inside the magazine. So according to Business of Fashion, McKinsey, the State of Fashion 2021, the word digital is seen as an opportunity for a lot of different departments inside fashion, not only fashion communication, but also retail, management, PR and customer relationship. Of course, this is part of the new generations, Millennial, Generation Z, that are disrupting this traditional way of purchasing, and all the pattern, the buying and the shopping journeys completely different compared to the past. The most important thing is that every single brand must have a purpose and a value. Millennials are looking forward to have a product that may be unique, may be different, may be appropriate and consistent to their needs. This, of course, has led to a big visual change in communication. And in this case, the physical magazine that we saw are becoming similar to communication consultancy agencies. They are asked to develop digital content for the different brands, and in order to communicate their new collections. Digital fashion so is pushing fashion brands and magazines to become also media companies. And for example, we have this interesting matching from two different companies. ID, that is considered one of the most important British fashion Bible, that anyway was not following and was difficult to develop digital content. So there was this match with the Vice that is producing together with ID this interesting branded content for the magazine. So in this case, the physical magazine paired with a video production companies that can be able to complement all the fashion content. It's really important that, of course, from static images of the fashion magazine, we pass to more animated images, and animated video has been an important revolution. Of course, fashion film was always developed by fashion luxury brand, but now has evolved into something more bigger, combining cinematography aesthetics, brand storytelling, featuring celebrities, and of course, it became viral for younger consumers. So it's really important that in the fashion movie, the storytelling can transport the viewer to the center of the brand world. That's sometimes making him the protagonist of a common story and interacting directly with them. So here I have an example of a nice fashion video from Burberry that is about in this case, we are combining different techniques. Okay, so in that case, the title was Pushing Boundaries, and in this case, they push boundaries, not having just a static lookbook or a static fashion editorials, but with the movement, it was really appreciated by younger generation, of course, and targeting younger generation for this video. Yes, this is another video that is very short. Is a sort of animated advertising campaign that was really interesting for Valentino. But also we have during COVID, of course, we had the opportunity to have virtual fashion shows. And at the same time, they were a sort of digital, where in a physical space, we had also some technological and digital elements. One of these was the collection showcased by the French designer Nicolas Guesquier for Louis Vuitton at Les Samaritaines, where there were physical guests and at the same time a video streaming with robotic arms and green screen throughout all the floors of the store. So there was this dialogue between the mythical department of the store and the real life at the same time. This is a sort of a small. So in this case, the introduction of the digital element also in a physical space, it's crucial. But of course, fashion has to tell a story. And of course, storytelling is one of the most unique and creative way to show something. We have also coined these terms, fashionizing, so that even brands that are not fashion brands are trying to fashionize their products in order to attract people in a better way. It's really important that every single brand nowadays understand who is the target audience in order to be authentic and has to understand the people's desires that are perceived as useful. So on each channel that we will see must tell the same stories, but addressed to different audiences. Fashion is no more exclusive, but becomes inclusive. And to become inclusive, it needs different channels and different tools. The same story, but developed in the different platform, in different touch points. So as you can see from this graph, we have in the past we have this idea of creating a cross-media strategy. Cross-media means like, okay, that we had a storytelling, we had a narrative that was spread and delivered in different platforms. Nowadays, talking about transmedia, we have a narrative that is going to be fragmented in different touch points, in different channels, in order then to have the whole vision of the concept and the story. Yes, this is okay. In cross-media, we have the same content conveyed through the various communication channels, and is not changed. It's just adapted in order to adjust the language, but it they do not have any further additional content. With transmedia, we have this one story, but is fragmented and in different forms and in different channels that are separated, but at the end they are consistent one to the others, and they create an entertainment experience. It's a sort that each channel, its touch points, in this case, it's a part of a puzzle that then create, integrates all together from online and offline, and create this unique experience. We have a transformation of media in the forms such like this one is the old systems where we had a movie, we had some games, we have book, lookbook, and this was the traditional media. With transmedia, we have the same content, but it's fragmented, and then it's some of the parts that create this euphoria of collecting pieces. So let's go back to the past and understand that the first one to create a website was Gap in 1997. And but of course, this was really the first part of the digital communication, and it was not really appreciated, the idea of a fashion brand to create their own website. It was not used. They didn't see any use, and Valentino Garavani, the owner of the Valentino, the creative director, said that, of course, he was not pleased because he wanted his garments completely to be touched and not have a fake dress on the web. Everything changed. So in 2002, companies like the one of Valentino Garavani was assessing if their presence in the web was a necessary strategy to undertake. But Hermes was the one of the first major fashion house to go online, simply with, but it was just an advertising campaign, an invitation to email the brand in case of further information. There was nothing, just images that was not useful. It will take a few more years for digital to begin to be conceived for what it really is, a device to create connections with consumers, and of course, this started with the spread of social network as the real turning point in the digital of fashion brands. We now live in an era where the internet and the social media are part of our lives. Advertising has the power to make a product fashionable, enter the consumer's mind, and create that need that leads to a search for a product. But 20 years after the beginning of the website, now companies are trying to understand if they should be present in the metaverse. Because as consumers spend more and more time online, and the hype around the metaverse continues to generate virtual goods, fashion leaders will unlock in the next years new ways of engaging with the younger generation. Players are exploring the potential of non-fungible token and NFT, gaming, and virtual fashion, all of which offer fresher routes to creativity, community building. Community building is really what fashion brands are trying to achieve, and of course, return on investment. Today, we have 100 million images are shared daily on Instagram with 1 billion monthly users. And with Instagram, purchasing is just a click away, since brands tag their shops directly in pictures. Social media has indeed proved a crucial and a new scenario opens up to allow them to achieve two fundamental objectives. One is, of course, consumer satisfaction. The other one is creating brand awareness. So, of course, as you can see, on Instagram, we have most of fashion brands. For example, this one is My Teresa, that has got a website where it's possible, redirects directly to the e-commerce of the company, so that by looking at the images and clicking on the images, you can get the real product and order the real product. So it's really important that, first of all, to understand that, of course, for every fashion brand to understand the brand's identity and to show the brand's identity in their narratives, in their storytelling. That each of the channels can tell the stories, but targeting different audiences. And what is here really important is the personalization, the customization of this kind of information according to the needs of the consumers. In this way, the feedback that brands receive on the social media is a precious resource. and becomes essential to collect interesting data for the fashion brands. So digital communication can have not only the website today, but also the e-commerce, blogs, and the support by influencer and social networks. And we have to say that Instagram, we will see then TikTok and video making play a leading role in this digital communication. The feedback that usually you receive during this interaction with the final consumer, the consumer of the brand, is extremely important, because nowadays these followers sometimes they dictate trends, and rather than follow trends. So we say that they set some new trends instead than following trends. And trend forecasting using social media allows fashion brand to unlock a lot of potential for commercial and creative success. Of course, Instagram is not the only media social platform, but we have a different, in different part of the world. We have Weibo in China, Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube, that play an important role in for millennials and Generation Z. So what I said before, of course, the industry has shifted from an exclusive, from the first magazines, fashion magazines, to an inclusive one form of fashion. They can express their opinion, and their opinion are important in order to evaluate potential new trends for the fashion companies. Trends nowadays, especially micro trends, take a few months to be adopted by the population. Instead, in the past, it was just 1 or 2 years before micro trends can. So it's really important that brands listen to what's happening on the social in order to redirect and readjust their design and production. Instagram can be considered a gold mine of insights. They allow brands to be ahead of their market and their consumer preference. In the past, fashion designers started to look at what's happening in street style. Sometimes they went to clubs in order to understand what was happening, what young people were wearing. Nowadays, it's much easier, of course, with these digital tools. They help to understand what consumers are wearing, what they need, what can they be wearing in the next future. So there is this company, Eurotech, that conduct studies showing that certain behaviors on Instagram can be 6 or 12 months ahead. And combining these figures with thousands of pictures, they understood, they put together important intuitions with interesting data. Trend forecasting on social media is the best approach to keep up with times. We can see niche trends emerging from fashion for work people and closely follow their propagation or not to the mass market. This is something that probably everyone heard on October 2021. Mark Zuckerberg changed his company Facebook into Meta and invested 10 billion in the metaverse. We have been waiting since the time in order to understand what's going to happen in this panorama of the metaverse. In July, just introduced some new tools for augmented reality. But what are doing fashion companies? They are starting, of course, developing some experience for the metaverse. And here you can have an example of those brands that participated, and that they are working a lot on new projects for the metaverse. So, of course, one of the best practice was Balenciaga, but we see also White or multi-brand stores like Selfridges. Also the collaboration with skin in modes of skin collaborations, or the creation of NFT. We will have a closer look to what is happening in the fashion brands in the metaverse a little bit later. Of course, in order to create, we need a technology, we need a clear target. We can create a community of users that, and because of course in this case it's going to be much more entertainment than profit. So one best practice in the transmedia strategy, of course, I would like to mention just two brands, but there are, as you saw, there are a lot of other brands that are participating in this transmedia communication for the metaverse. So among Gucci and Balenciaga. This is the homepage of the Gucci website. As you can see, there are a lot of social that are included, but there are also a lot of different platforms that are targeting a different kind of consumers. So that the information for Gucci is going to be completely inclusive and understanding the needs of every single consumer. One way of getting also a lot of media mentions is also collaborating with a blogger, in this case, the top beauty blogger that was gifted of pink Gucci luggage. And the vlogger communicate a lot about in his own website about Gucci luggage. This helped Gucci to earn media mentions and sales worth 1 million. Gucci can be considered, there is always some a ranking about the brands that are most active on the social, and Gucci is one of the top, of course, if not the first one. So especially with TikTok, they worked very well in order to create campaigns and giving to TikTokers clothing in order to create their own styling. And of course, by creating this with the hashtag Gucci Model Challenge, it has now quite 300 million views, involving different designers, different stylists that are targeting a different consumers, so from different countries. This is an example of what is
colorful, and then some random shirt that doesn't match it, and then a random vest, layering and then a bright green or bright colored jacket, some vinyl pants, maybe put on the little mini skirt with a back. I know, stylish. The headscarf, this is very crucial. This is a Gucci staple. I have my Gucci sunglasses on. Some clear heel with some soft, of course, some bright pink lipstick, and just like that, I'm going to model for Gucci.
As you can see, this is not glossy images. It's just normal blogger that is doing the styling with Gucci, but then the company reposted this and created a sort of challenge among all those stylists. Also working with Gucci Towns, that is it's an interesting website where there are people that can gamers, creators, fashion that are interested in the fashion. They can shop digital Gucci items. At the same time, they show off their personal Gucci style with the world. At the same time, they are really interested in helping other people, and this is a platform inside the website Equilibrium that is helping women for women empowerment and gender equality. So as you can see, they are just covering a different target in order to communicate their not only the clothing, but also to create brand awareness among the different audiences. Web3 is the new, of course, way of communicating by using 3D digital tools. And in this case, of course, you can create, some brands are creating NFTs in order to create and build a community, membership community. That is not an easy thing, but they're working on this, creating this kind of thing. Adidas, for example, was one of the first one to embrace NFT, non-fungible tokens, creating a campaign together with Prada. And yes, this is just some of the images that they proposed, where you can see some NFTs were worn by avatar and others worn by physical people. Also, Prada started working with the NFT, and this is something interesting about what they are doing. Yes, in this case, apart from the selling of the NFT, it was also sold the physical garment. And this is a campaign that is still working. At the first Thursday of the month, there is a new time capsule that is launching a new product that can be sold just in 24 hours. Balenciaga is the other big name with the creative director Dan Stale that worked a lot on together with Fortnite, that are of course the gaming platform, with creating avatar NFTs for this game. This is something that is not only just to sell NFTs. Sometimes they are not sold at all, but it's just to create brand awareness in a target of young generation that will be informed about the brand Balenciaga. Also, the creation of this interesting the interesting characters like the doggo, that is an anthropomorphized dog, is representing together with the game platform Fortnite, some NFTs. And we have also these interesting 3D billboards that are really eye-catching. Okay, at the same time, Balenciaga, for example, in the store in Via Monte Napoleone in Milano, is not investing in window display because this is the window display which is all hanging clothes in the window display. I just want to have a short insight in what's happening in the physical stores. We know that e-commerce growth are nowadays normalizing. They will not grow as they grow in the past. And of course, also this idea that we have shown in this presentation of creating content for the social has a cost, and e-commerce has a cost as well, because of course of the returned product that is cost about $21 to $46. So what are fashion brands doing? They are doubling down physical touch points. In the USA, in this 2022 physical stores openings outpace closures, and this is interesting data. So what are retailers doing is rethinking the physical store, introducing technology, introducing digital technologies that can leverage and create experience inside the physical stores. So we are talking about a new way of communication that is a phygital and experience that merges, of course, the physical aspect with the digital one, and is creating a physical environment where the connection with the digital is seamless. One of the best example, of course, it's Nike. This is the flagship stores in Munich, where you can see in Berlin. Apart from digital walls, we have a lot of information and augmented reality. And the interactive tables, which gives much more information on the physical product. So you have the physical product, but then when you place on the table, you have all this augmented reality. So that's the digital experience, the phygital experience that retailers are starting to include inside the physical store. And then, of course, if you can place directly the order on the e-commerce of the web. I want just to conclude with nowadays, of course, we are starting to work with artificial intelligence, and in order to develop in another way the fashion film, we can take inspiration from what happened to Coca-Cola, where they are putting together live action, so actors, 3D animations, and artificial intelligence. I strongly believe that this can be the next step in fashion communication and digital fashion communication, just combining different techniques that are like this live action, 3D animation, and including artificial intelligence. In this way, artificial intelligence is not going to delete some work, some jobs, opportunities, but is creating some job opportunities, just combining all these different techniques. I just want to conclude with the last slide that of course we are look at new entry touch points, at the importance of the user engagement that gives important feedback for the fashion companies in order to rearrange and reorganize their fashion communication and fashion production. The emotional engagement, of course, irony is what started with TikTok, but I think that it's also something that a consequence of COVID, and of course new job opportunities that are creating this kind of fashion digital communication. CGI is computer generated images, and so working in this way there will be a lot of new opportunities. Anyway, it's strongly important that brands create an important storytelling that can lead to increased engagement conversation, create authentic social content by turning influencers into user-generated content, and find methods to do experimental marketing to create connections with consumers, and to generate this user-generated content, as I said. Tailor your communication line with the values and behavior of millennials to build loyalty. We have a different scenario nowadays. We have a different different consumers, and we have to target them with different digital, in this case, digital tools. In this sense, branded content, that is what we saw, branded because it must be for the social media, but also for the website, and they must fit the audience that truly interests us. In this way, we are creating a transmedia content that is adapting the message to each different medias. Okay, I think that I have, yeah, 1 minute after nine. So I don't know if there are any questions, Monica. I leave the word to you.
Thank you very much, Gianfranco. Antes de pasar a nuestra sesión de preguntas y respuestas, me gustaría recordar a todos nuestros estudiantes que es necesario que envíen el formulario de inscripción durante la sesión para que puedan optar al certificado de participación siempre que asistan al menos a 22 sesiones. Además de que con este 50% de asistencia pueden optar a diversas becas ofrecidas por universidades, como es el caso de Domus Academy. Gianfranco, we have here some questions. I will, si quieren escribirlas en español, yo les puedo ayudar a traducir. Well, the
Yo
first,
entiendo un poquito de español.
what's the name of the course for apply if I want to learn more about these topics?
Okay. Yes, usually it's the styling and visual merchandising workshop in that and fashion management at the same time, because yeah, that's the big difference, because fashion managers are creating the structure of this strategy, while the master in styling and retail and visual merchandise are creating the content. So usually in this case, students work together. Of course, the fashion manager is the one that is developing the strategy, that is telling stylists or retailers what to do. and stylists and retailers are creating the real content, the physical content. In our school, we are developing. We have lab, light lab, photographic lab, but also design lab, where students are creating a physical output, physical or digital. I mean, probably digital in this case.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, do you think a renowned brand can become 100% digital? If so, the essence of the brand could be lost?
I mean, there are a lot of fashion brands that started to be digital. They are native digital companies. Some of them, they are starting to have a physical store because, of course, the physical presence is always important. I don't. Yes, there is the opportunity that you can, it's better than in the past where it was really difficult to pay an advertising campaign in a fashion magazine in order to promote yourself. Now with social, with this digital communication, it's much easier for a fashion brand to gain a success. I don't know if it will stay forever digital, but sometimes you have to have this counterpart in a physical way, or digital, as we said.
Okay, thank you very much. Then you have the numbers that how increased the buying with the new interactive methods. How much is the increase of these practices?
You mean now, thanks to social, of course, there are different strategies. This is why it's important that a brand understand very well what is his target, and then in that way you can increase. I didn't mention in the presentation there is also a fashion designer, JW Anderson, that was presenting his collection in the app for gay meetings, Grindr. And it was streamed there just because that was his target, and he gained a lot of success just promoting his collection on a meeting network app.
All right, so we have another, today's focus is technology, but in your personal point of view, do you think that technology is missing something to be complete?
It depends. Of course, technology will be evolved. Will evolve continuously. What I think I said this morning was that at the beginning, fashion was not the first one to understand the importance of these digital tools. They were not considering the idea of creating their own website. Then they understood, thanks also to the importance of the mobile, because everything was in your hands and you could do everything with your mobile. So I think that technology will evolve. At the moment, we do not know what's going to happen with the Meta of Mark Zuckerberg. If it's going to be an app for the metaverse, or it's just something that we will see. We have to see. But in this case, fashion brands are starting working in this with this tool, even if it's not so clear at the moment. So I think that technology, of course, will improve, and fashion brands are always looking for new tools in order to communicate their brand.
Okay, thanks. Then we have, hello, first of all, thank you for this amazing webinar. My question is, what books do you recommend to learn more about these topics?
I mean, there are a lot of I think that the most important thing is nowadays is to understand the strategy, the omni-channel strategies, so that in this case you can understand the structures, but at the same time, the most important thing is just to look and to follow the most important fashion brands, what they are doing, because this is not only in fashion, because sometimes, as I show you, the one of Coca-Cola is not a fashion brand, but the techniques and what they are using to create interesting content can be achieved by other brands that are not fashion brands. I can give you a bibliography of the most important list and pass to Monica.
Okay. What are the more relevant digital skills to operate digital fashion marketing?
Fashion digital communication. Fashion digital marketing is my colleague that is going to do a lectures in an hour, I think. She will give on digital marketing. Digital tools, of course, this is a field that is always changing. So you have to keep update and at the same time. When I started working as a PR in fashion agencies, there was also photography. Photography was the only tools. Nowadays, of course, you have to understand what is going to be the new media. And in some cases, of course, you can outsource. You have ideas and you can outsource your ideas to someone that is much more expert in that field. This is what is happening with Balenciaga, that is outsourcing to these gaming platforms, because of course they do not have the expertise inside the companies. I mean, you have to be addicted to fashion. You have to look at the different fashion events and editorials and advertising campaign in order to create your own ideas.
Okay, so
Of course, some skills in photography and digital creating movie. It's important. At school, we are doing a lot about animated images, not only static images as in the past, but we are moving in that direction with experts that are doing every single lectures in different with showing different techniques.
Okay, so one last question. Right now, NFT are worthless, and I think everyone can agree that it was a bubble. Is it going to be the case with the metaverse?
Yeah, I think that NFT is just a way to reach a different target, a younger target. There are some kids that knows very well what is Balenciaga, because playing games in their platform, they know that, so they are just creating awareness about the brand for future potential customer consumers. But I think that if we will have something interesting by Meta, it can be interesting. It can be an interesting social network for metaverse as well. But as I said during the lectures, in 2002, no fashion brand wanted to create their own website. After 20 years, fashion brands are asking what to do with the metaverse. I don't know if it's going to be a bubble or if it's something that will explode.
Okay. Thank you very much, Gianfranco, for this amazing lecture. And gracias a
Thank
todos
you.
por la interesante sesión. Esperamos que resulte provechosa para acercar a los estudiantes mexicanos y al público en general a nuevos conceptos. A nombre de la Cámara de Comercio Italiana en México, me gustaría expresar mi gratitud por su presencia en esta sesión. También extiendo mi agradecimiento a todas las marcas que forman parte de Encuentro Creativo, entre ellas Essilor, Luxótica, Seña, Fénix, Aeroméxico, Max Mara, Cartel, United Colors of Benetton, entre otras. Quiero recordar a todos los estudiantes que las universidades asociadas a Encuentro Creativo ofrecen becas. Pueden encontrar los criterios de elegibilidad en la página web, en la sección becas. Es esencial asistir al menos al 50% de las sesiones de Encuentro Creativo, así que por favor asegúrense de marcar su asistencia durante las sesiones. Gracias por unirse a nosotros y no olviden que tenemos muchas más sesiones por delante. Hoy estamos en el cuarto día y tendremos muchas sesiones a lo largo de estas 2 semanas. Gracias.
Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you very much, Gianfranco.
Bye. Bye-bye.